What's up, guys? Adam here, Anticenaguy. Surprised to see me because it's been a while since I've actually came on here and made a video, because most of all my uploads have been old re-uploads from my hard drive. Some people aren't happy about that, but it gave me the opportunity to get on things with life that I needed to do. You know, I'm a very busy guy, people. Like I say, I've got a full-time job. I'm also running a business aside of that. Plus, I've got this house to fucking keep, and shopping, maintenance, you name it. But the old re-uploads are coming to an end soon. Some people may be happy to know. And then hopefully I'll get back to making some more videos, you know, in the near future. I don't know what about, but at this stage it's going to be old re-uploads from my hard drive. You know, some people like to see some of the old classic things that I had on my own previous accounts. You know, but this is Ask Anticenaguy episode 13, everybody. Again, not many questions, but that's perfectly fine. I'm not trying to be the most really top popular guy here on YouTube or anything like that, but I do have fans and subscribers who are liking my uploads and like my channel, and they leave me questions. So the Q&A is just a chance where, for those of you that don't know what Ask Anticenaguy is, it's a Q&A series where my subscribers get to ask me some questions, where the rule is I can ask me one question per episode. And the more thumbs up it gets, the more chances of it being answered. But let's get on with it. Just looking on episode 12 now, some of these great questions that you guys have left me. The first question from Badabum663 says, "Hey Adam, if you could bring back 3 wrestlers that have passed away, who would you bring back and why?" Does it have to be 3? The thing is, there's so many superstars and wrestlers who have died over the years, and it's really tragic and sad. You can almost guarantee the most common death of a wrestler is either a heart attack, a drug overdose, or a suicide. You know, and it's really sad, and most of these wrestlers don't even see their 50th birthday because of how cruel the wrestling business can be and how stressful it can be. So there's so many superstars and divas and legends and Hall of Famers who I'd love to bring back from the dead. You know, there's like Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Ashley Massaro, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, the Ultimate Warrior. You know, so many different people. Bray Wyatt. You know, there's just so many different people who I wish I could bring back from the dead. I mean, I don't think it'd be fair if I chose just 3 of them. Let's just say there's loads of superstars who I would bring back from the dead, because they were so young and, you know, they were amazing performers and great entertainers. But top 3, I suppose Eddie Guerrero would be in the top 3, and so would Bray Wyatt be in the top 3, because they were only young at the time of their death. So I was only in their 30s, you know, the same age as me, you know. And again, it's a tragic shame that their lives have came to an end the way they have done, and people don't realise how stressful and what kind of a world wrestling is. You know what I mean? It's one of those companies that can have a major impact on your life. I mean, they all have an impact on their lives later on in the future, you know, from all the bumps and all the injuries that they have, which takes a toll on their body and it stresses them out. And they turn to things like drugs and alcohol, or they just commit suicide because they can't cope with the pain anymore, which is very unfortunate. But thanks for sending that in. Next from Blood Python 742 says, "Hey Adam, on my question, I know you're probably going to say to me I can't answer that because I love both of the same, or maybe you say something different to me, but my question is, if these 2 epic icons, who would you say is more perfect for playing the role? Brad Dourif as Chucky or Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger?" Well, the thing is, I'd have to go with Robert Englund, because Robert Englund is playing a physical part. He's like a live action part. You know, he is Freddy and he'll always will be Freddy. No disrespect to Jackie or Haley. I liked him in the movie The Watchers, but he's no Freddy Krueger. It just goes to show that nobody can play Freddy Krueger. I mean, there has been some people online who have tried to act like Freddy Krueger, and I think they do a fine job. But you can't help but compare him to Robert Englund's performance. And that's why I chose Robert Englund over Brad Dourif, because Brad Dourif is just the voiceover of Chucky. And I suppose you could get away with it with another actor. But with Robert Englund, you got to do the physical appearance, you got to do the walk, you got to do the laugh, you got to do the comedy, and it's all combined in one fist. You know what I mean? So I'd have to choose Robert Englund over Brad Dourif. But taking nothing away from Brad Dourif, he's a great guy. I've met both of these guys, and they're both icons in their own way. But yeah, it would have to be Robert Englund over Chucky any day. That's just my honest opinion. Next from David8986 says, "Hi Adam, have you ever watched Cobra Kai? If not, I'm recommending you giving it a watch, particularly the first 3 series. You know, there's loads of things I'm missing out at the moment. Loads of TV shows, loads of series, particularly Cobra Kai. You know, I have not had the time to sit down and watch any of these series, including Cobra Kai. I heard it's good, you know, but I love the Karate Kid movie, so there's no reason why I would not give Cobra Kai a watch. I'm a big fan of Karate Kid 1, 2, 3, yes, and even 4. You know, it's a shame Pat Morita, aka Mr. Miyagi, is no longer with us. He would have made Cobra Kai worth the watch. But one of these days, I'm going to have to sit down and really give a long hard watch. If you've recommended it, then I'm going to take your word for it. But Cobra Kai is just one of those series that I've got to give a watch someday. Particularly the first 3 series, like you already recommended. But no, I've not seen any of them. I've heard good things about them, and I will be willing to give them a try someday when I get the time. Next from Charlie Cunningham, QJ7XU says, "Hello Adam, any chance of you reviewing Survivor Series 2014 for your WWE pay-per-view reviews in the future?" I've not reviewed a WWE pay-per-view in ages, because people know how I feel about WWE these days. Lately we had a terrible reveal that Pat McAfee or someone was the reveal of Randy Orton's telephone call on SmackDown, and we've had so many bad reveals, we've had so many bad storylines. I'll even admit it, AEW is better than WWE. At least it's hardcore and it's the modern day Attitude Era, you know what I mean? WWE, I just don't know what the fuck they're doing, but Survivor Series 2014 was out in the PG era. I suppose if I must review it, I will, but I've not reviewed a WWE pay-per-view in a long, long, long time. Will I review it in the future? It's possible. But I'm going to have to be in the right state of mind and the right mood to review a WWE pay-per-view. I mean, I'll review some of the old classics any time. You know, from the Attitude Era, the Ruthless Aggression Era, or even the Golden Hogan Era. You know, but I might review pay-per-views again. Who knows? That's all I've got to say is just be patient and we'll have to see what the future holds. Next from Concha 2075, he says, "Drew McIntyre, really awesome. He was really mean and super heel bad guy, like in all the mind games he's doing with all these feuds. What do you think of Drew's storylines now?" I think Drew McIntyre is criminally underrated. You know, he's just lost the WWE title again to Cody Rhodes, and I think he's taking time off at the moment to make a movie. I was kind of looking forward to seeing the Hell in a Cell match between Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre, based on the long feud that they've had. But he seems to be here and there, losing here, winning there. WWE are just like on the mediocre level with him at the moment, which is a shame because Drew McIntyre is a great talent. And I do like Drew McIntyre. He's one of those superstars that takes his work really seriously. And he really hits hard. And he likes to have a scrap in the ring with his opponents. You know. Right now, we just don't know what to do with him. Hopefully they'll pull the thumb out of their asses and like really take him to great heights. You know. But I do like Drew McIntyre. Always have done. Criminally underrated. Next from Josh Biggs 3162 says, "Hey Adam, do you think the climax of Jaws is going on for too long? I love the Jaws movie, but the last 45 minutes the movie drags on. And when they get to the boat and hunt down the shark, the sequence goes on for too long in my opinion." Well, we're all entitled to our own opinions, but in my opinion, that part was important to the movie. Yes, I admit it was long, but it was about them 3 guys bonding with each other on the boat. You know, Richard Dreyfuss, Robert Shaw, and Roy Scheider all working together. And I think that's what made the chemistry really strong in this movie, the way those 3 guys worked together about trying to hunt down and kill the sharks, because it was great storytelling about these 3 individual guys who had different personalities, but they all had to work together to kill the shark. Especially Robert Shaw, when he was telling the speech about the Minneapolis bomb, you know, when he was on the boat when they delivered the bomb, and he was talking about the time when he was most frightened about being ripped apart by all the sharks that killed all the people all around him. So, yes, it is a long sequence, but in my opinion, it was needed. And it was great storytelling, in my opinion. I mean, it was Steven Spielberg's favourite part of the whole movie when Quint was telling like the speech. I looked that up, and it was his favourite part of the whole movie. You know, where Quint's telling that story about how all the people were killed by the tiger sharks and delivering the bomb and all that. So maybe long, but I wasn't bored not one little bit. I could watch Jaws all day long. It's an all-time classic, and it was great storytelling, and it was really great the way them three characters bonded together to kill the shark, despite them not having the best of feelings towards each other and all that kind of thing. One minute they're fighting, one minute they're working hard together, and you know, it was all about bonding, and I thought they did really well, all three guys. Next question from Chris P. Bacon D9H. When the credits roll in Freddy's Dead, and the Iggy Pop song was one Eyeborn plays, at the very end when he says, "Do you really think Freddy's dead?" we then see Freddy much alive. Were they meant to indicate a sequel or not? I'm aware the New Nightmare film came out, but it felt more like a standalone movie. Well, New Nightmare, it did feel like a standalone movie. They did not. I don't think they was planning on doing any more sequels after Freddy's Dead, because it was called Freddy's Dead, because I felt like there was nowhere else for the character to go at the time, you know. But New Nightmare was Wes Craven's work, and Robert Englund even said that New Nightmare is his favourite film. It does feel like more of a standalone movie. It doesn't connect to Freddy's Dead in any type of way. But if you're going to make a sequel to Freddy's Dead and you already made it clear that that's the end of the series, what better way than to do a movie based on the characters and the actors who played them? I thought it was really well thought out. But yeah, Freddy was officially dead. You know, they didn't want to do any more with the character. They didn't want to make any more films. So you could say he was pretty much dead. But he's like a dream world character. So will he ever be officially dead? Because you can easily dream about him again. So it's a question that will always remain unknown. Yeah, but I do know what you mean about New Nightmare being a standalone movie. But I still like it though. Next from Brawl & Entertainment 2K. Hi Adam, do you intend on doing a review of the Nightmare on Elm Street 2010 remake at some point? Seeing you reviewed all the other films in the franchise, and that you reviewed Rob Zombie's Halloween in the past as well. Do I have to? Thing is, I've got to watch these movies again before I review them. And Nightmare on Elm Street 2010, the remake starring Jackie Earle Haley, is just one of those movies that I swore that I'd never see again, because I fucking hate that movie. I went to cinema to see it, hated the movie, I nearly walked out, but I watched it all the way through, and it was just so unbearing. Fucking shit film, shit remake. Will I review it in the future? I suppose, but I'll have to be in the right mood to do a great rant on that movie. It's going to be different from all the different rants. It's going to be longer, more descriptive, but some people like to see me pissed off when I'm reviewing movies for some reason. But I'd rather review a positive movie over than a rant any day of the week. But who knows? Who knows what the future holds? But as of right now, I'd rather not. But never say never. Next from JK1996R2D. Hi Adam, thanks for answering my question. My question for episode 13 is, have you ever watched animated comedies such as Family Guy, South Park or American Dad? I think the best era of Family Guy was in the mid-late 2000s. I do like Family Guy, but I'm more of a South Park guy. I've always liked South Park. And South Park will always hold a special place in my heart. I've grew up with it. And it will always be somewhat of a special thing to me to the day I die. I mean, because I love Eric Cartman, I love Stan Marsh, Carl Blofosky, Kenny McCormick, Mr. Garrison, and all those other characters from South Park. So I'm more of a South Park guy, more of a Family Guy type of person. Again, I really hope that South Park lasts forever because it's a great comedy. Thanks for sending that in. Next one, Pierce Tracker 69 says, if you could remake one of your favourite movies of all time, what would it be? To tell you the truth, I would not remake any of my favourite movies. You know, because if it's a favourite movie and it's a classic original, then there'll be no point in remaking it, because I don't like remakes. I'm not a fan of remakes. There's been one or two good ones, but on the whole, I'm more of an original guy. Don't fuck with the originals, as he kept on saying. I'd rather see a sequel to a movie of mine that I like, provided it's done right. But remakes, I don't want to see remakes in today's generation. I don't want to see remakes of things that I've already liked are redone poorly. Because we always know that the remakes are never going to be as good as the originals. You know, it's the same with horror icons. We're doing remakes of Nightmare on Elm Street. We're doing Friday the 13th remakes. Halloween's going on forever. You know, and I don't want to see any of that. I want to see new stuff like Art the Clown from Terrifier. You know, I just want to see stuff like that. I want to see new stuff that will lead us into the next generation. So, in terms of seeing a remake of one of my favourite movies of all time, I would not like to remake any of my favourite movies from all time. They hold a special place in my heart for how much joy I've got out of them. And I don't want to even think about a remake when it comes to watching an original movie. Last question from Hugh Jazz H4B says, are you going to vote reform in the next general election? Too fucking right. Because the arsehole that we've got running the UK right now as Prime Minister is a complete fucking joke. I can't understand his views. I don't know why the fuck he's letting all these people come into the country illegally. He needs to fucking go. You know, I'm not going to get too much into the ranting because I might offend some people out there. But this Prime Minister that we currently got is making a mockery of the country, and I'm definitely one going to be voting reform when the time comes. You know, and I'm not even a big political guy or anything like that, but I do care about the country, I do care about my taxes, and I do care about the welfare of others, if they deserve it. So, reform is definitely going to be voted for from me for the next general election, and this asshole needs to go. You know, that's all I'm going to say. That's episode 13, everybody, of Ask Anticenaguy. You know what to do for episode 14? Leave all your questions in this episode, and then when we get to episode 14 in the future, we'll obviously answer the questions, but make sure they get plenty of thumbs up. And remember, I can only answer one question per person, so everyone else can have a turn. Thanks for watching this, everybody. Have a nice day, and happy Easter. Take care.